Alrighty, so all the matchup from the CCL round of 16 first leg is in the books. And remember the opening matchup when Austin got upset by Violeta by a score of 3 goals to nothing, and I said that that is a huge warning sign to all these MLS teams that's going to be facing their CCL opponent, whether at home or on the road in the first leg, that they can't take them lightly and that it's not going to be easy. Well, it turns out all these teams probably took note of that lesson, because not only all of these teams, besides Austin, were able to get a result, whether a win or a draw on the road. But it just feels like the result just gets better and better for MLS team. I mean, it all started with a relatively respectable 0-0 draw that the Union had, and then Orlando City pulling off one of the most incredible feat of going down to El Volcan and getting a 0-0 draw against tournament favorite Tigres. And then we saw Vancouver just after such a slow start to the season, inexplicably they put 5 past Rio Espana like it's nothing. And then we saw what happened tonight, where I mean this was impressive from LAFC, and this is also the reason why I've said that they are, along with Tigres, considered to be the favorites to win CCL this year, because coming into this game, I think this was going to be an interesting test, knowing the fact that Alajuelense, you could argue they are probably the strongest team in the Central American region in the CONCACAF Champions League. But what LAFC did in this game and walk into a hostile environment here in Alajuelense is just something that we don't see a lot of MLS team does. I mean, not only the fact that they smacked Alajuelense apart in this game, but the scoreline doesn't indicate the fact that this could have been easily 5 or 6-0 if LAFC were a little bit more clinical, and their goalkeeper had to kind of channel a little bit of Keylor Navas to just keep the score respectable. But early on in the first half, unsurprisingly, it was a it was a packed house inside the stadium, but also a very good showing from the LAFC away fans. I mean, that is not a big surprise, because the 3-2-5-2, they travel, and it's not just around the country, but also around the region too. We saw them travel during their time when they played against Leon in the first leg back in the 2020 edition of CCL. But I feel like this was even a better showing. I mean, they pretty much had that entire section packed in, and throughout the game, I mean, I'm pretty sure Fox kind of upped the mic of the away fans a little bit too much, because I feel like they really just want to show that, yeah, the LAFC fans are definitely there, but they kind of upped it a little bit where I feel like you couldn't really hear the home fans a lot, and that, as much as I do like to hear MLS fans represent, I feel like they should have just done what Apple TV does, which is kind of just bounce the play out. But again, this is Fox, and Fox does not do a good job in terms of the audio, but nevertheless, it was a great showing from the LAFC fan. They were chanting throughout the full 80 minutes, and you notice I say 80 minutes because I'll tell you in just a bit how unfortunately they weren't able to stay for the entire part of this game. But early on, it was Alajuelense, the one that were on the front foot, which is not a big surprise, because that coming into a game, I'm seeing a lot of MLS team doesn't really get off to a good start on the road. They want to play it a little bit safe. But at the same time, I also thought the LAFC was already time wasting. Now, that's kind of an interesting strategy, because yes, I get that you want to get a 0-0 draw against a decent team, but this is the thing I said about LAFC being the favorites. If you're considered to be a favorites in this tournament, you need to show that you're the favorites, and not just kind of time waste and taking their time putting the ball back into play. But little did we know that was kind of the only time to do so. They do so because they really started to attack this Alajuelense back line. And it all started in the 7th minute when Maria denying Opoku from close range before Suarez did hit one right to McCarthy after just a giveaway from LAFC. One of the rare time LAFC backline was kind of a little bit sloppy at the back. Cifuentes then hits one right to Maria before Bawanga hits it straight to Maria. And again, some half chances for both of these teams early on, but little did we know that it would start to become a bit of one side in favor of the visitor. But in the 18th minute, Maria would deny Cifuentes from long range before Acosta had a shot that actually was knuckling, and it almost fooled Maria there. Like he almost kind of just palmed that one into his back of the net, almost committed a goalkeeping hour there. But there was no doubt LAFC was pressing to get the opener. The shots were 8-2 in favor of the visitor, in favor of LAFC. And then in the 30th minute, oh my goodness, this should have been the opening goal. Now, I know Bouanga would have a huge night in this one, but yeah, I mean, this is one that it's thankfully that he had a huge night, because this would be one that we would be talking about if it wasn't for him to have a huge night in this game, as he had an empty net to shoot in the back post, 4 yards out, and he only hit the post. So kind of a Ramel Kyoto moment there from Dennis Bouanga. But like I said, thankfully, this is kind of forgotten because of a huge night that he had. But nevertheless, at that point, that was inexcusable. I mean, that should have been 1-0 in favor of LAFC, and I'm pretty sure Bouanga is definitely thinking about that one, at least for a bit of how big of a chance that he missed. But I also wrote that this looks like LAFC back in 2024, and one of the issue with LAFC in 2020 and also in 2021 is that they just could not finish. I mean, despite the fact that there's been times where they dominate their opposition, the finishing has been a problem, and that it seems like it was the case here, where they were having problem finishing and putting chances away. And then there was another shot in the 31st minute, or actually not another shot, but Alcacer had a shot that took a big deflection, and that goes high before Parkins drives one that goes way wide from long range, and then Gamba actually had a shot that posed just wide from long range, and I thought that was just kind of a reminder for LFC that despite the fact that they were the better side in the first half, you can't just let yourself put your foot off the gas, and I feel like that was kind of the case as the half goes along, where LAFC definitely lost a bit of that intensity, and Alajuelense was started getting back to the game. Like, they were creating some good opportunity and trying to get the opening goal themselves. Vela then puts one into the side netting in the first minute of stoppage time. The LAFC away fans, they celebrated, and I don't blame them for celebrating that, because from the angle that they were sitting, that looked like it went into the back of the net. In fact, I was surprised the commentator did not get fooled by that, because when I look on TV, I thought that one went in, and the fact that the play-by-play commentator was not fooled by that, I was kind of a little bit surprised, but also just a good job by the play-by-play commentator, because I think if I was doing the commentating, I probably would have been fooled the fact that one went into the back of the net. But nevertheless, despite a ton of chances that LAFC had, we had to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. But it wouldn't be scoreless for long, because heading into the second half, LAFC finally broke through, and it's Dennis Bouanga that broke through for LAFC, as he scored here from Holland's Head to make it 1-0 in favor of LAFC. And again, at that point, that has to be a huge redemption for Bouanga after that shocking miss that he had in the 30th minute. Vela then puts it just high from long range before McCarthy would deny Alcacer from close range. Bouanga then tried to get his second goal, but he puts that one high, as there was a little bit of an end-to-end action that was happening in the early part of the second half, but the shots were still 13-7 in favor of LAFC as we hit the hour mark. Maria then denied Vela from long range. In fact, I should have said he robbed Vela from long range, because that one was destined for the top corner. Maria somehow in some way able to save that, and he even wrote, he was channeling his Keylor Navas in this one, channeling the legendary Costa Rican goalkeeper in terms of keeping this game at 1-0 as long as possible. There was a shout for a handball, and then also a foul for a penalty for LAFC that was not given. But then in the 70th minute, LAFC got their second goal, and it's Dennis Bouanga scoring again, this time once again from Holland's Head to make it 2-0 in favor of LAFC. It was a complete carbon copy of the first goal. I mean, the first goal literally was a ball on the flank area where Holland's Head puts a perfect cross that Bouanga just got tapped in. In the second goal, it was pretty much the same thing. And again, a little question in terms of this Alajuelense backline. I mean, they mentioned coming into this game, they conceded only 8 goals this season in league play, but the way that they play in this one, it didn't look like a team that conceded just 8 goals. I mean, it was kind of sloppy at the back, but that's also due to the fact that LAFC was very good in terms of their movement on the ball, and that they really created a lot of problem in terms of this Alajuelense Alajuelense back line. Then there was a huge shout for a penalty from the Alajuelense fans that was not given. The Ole chant was starting from the LAFC away fans. I mean, that has to be very pity from the LAFC away fans to basically do the Ole chant in a hostile environment, because especially I'm pretty sure the Alajuelense fans, they didn't appreciate it, because I think there was at one part where the Alajuelense fans was basically throwing trash onto the pitch and throwing trash to Vela, and Vela kind of were very frustrated about that, which again, I said this before and I say it again, I hate to see when fans, of course, throw stuff on the pitch, but I also think that that's kind of typical CONCACAF Champions League or typical CCL kind of shenanigans. I mean, when you go in a hostile environment like what we've seen, you're gonna have to suck it up, because the fans that is in this, and they're gonna be hostile, and they're not going to be just let you be relaxed, just like what we see in some of these MLS games that we've seen before. But in the 80th minute, it seems like the LAFC away fans were forced to leave by security. Now, I'm not sure if they were forced to leave because somebody did something bad and that security basically kicked them out, or the fact that it's just for their safety. I'm hoping it's the latter part, though. If it's just for safety, I don't know why they couldn't just do what I've seen with a lot of how they do it with away fans in Europe, and also the same case in MLS too, where if there's a big away contention, they usually let them stay in the entire stadium until all the home fans are gone, and then they let the away fans leave. They could have just done the same thing in this one too, but instead, the security, they force the LAFC away fans to leave, and it's a shame too, because the goal scoring wasn't done, and that LAFC did had some big opportunity to get that third goal. It started in the 82nd minute when Maria robbed Buke as he was in on goal there from close range before he denied Bawanga of a hat trick on the volley. But then in the 89th minute, Bawanga would get his hat trick as he scored here from Ilie Sanchez to make it 3-0 in favor of LAFC. There was one last chance for Alajuelense as McCarthy had to deny Lopez from close range, but in the end, it was pretty much a dominant performance by LAFC. 3-0 on the road in a hostile environment against Alajuelense. The shots in this one, 25 shots compared to 13 that Alajuelense has. 5 shots on compared to 12 that LAFC had. 4 shots off target for the 8 that LAFC had. 4 shots that was blocked compared to 5 that LAFC had. And possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that Alajuelense has in this game. And again, it's safe to say that this was, again, just one of the most dominant performances I've seen an MLS team have done on a row, and especially in a hostile environment like what LAFC had to endure. And that I do safely say that pretty much this leg is done, and unless if LAFC did something spectacularly bad in the second leg, which I don't think that's gonna happen, I think it should be pretty easy for them. And now we could potentially have another all MLS kind of CCL matchup between LAFC and the Vancouver Whitecaps. And if that, of course, it is the case, I'm actually thinking about attending one. I'm probably thinking about going down to Bank of California Stadium to attend one of those, because I've never attended a CONCACAF Champions League game, and it feels like it's kind of fun to see that, especially watching on TV in terms of this matchup. And if it is LAFC versus Vancouver, it should be very, very interesting. And especially, I know I might be a little bit too ahead of myself because of the fact that both of those teams that is on par to meet each other in the quarter final still haven't played their second leg. But, Vancouver, with a 5-0 lead against Real España, I don't think they're going to blow that. And the same goes with LAFC. And again, that's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people will say it should be easy for LAFC to dispatch Vancouver, but if there's one thing I will say about the Whitecaps is that's been kind of a team that LAFC's been having problems before, especially on the road for the past couple of seasons. So I don't think that's going to be a two-legged affair. If it is the all MLS matchup, that is going to be just a blowout, like what many people think that it could be when they saw the bracket that is released. But again, we'll talk about that when it gets to that point. But as of now, again, very well showing for MLS team in the first leg. I mean, unless you're not Los Verdes, which I'm pretty sure Austin fans must be even more frustrated that they were the odd team in terms of just of not putting a good performance in CCL. But I think it's safe to say that, you know, we could once again see at least 4 teams moving on into, or well, I wouldn't say 4 teams, because, you know, the game between Orlando and Tigres, that could still be tough for Orlando City. But I think it's safe to say that we can at least have maybe 2 or even 3 teams moving on. I think it's safe to say that the Union should still be able to move on into the next round after getting that 0-0 draw against Alajuelense. But if you want kind of just the bare minimum, I think it's safe to say that at least two MLS team is going to be moving on into the quarterfinal, and coincidentally they're going to be facing against each other. So we can already safe to say that maybe there's going to be just going to be at least one MLS team that's going to be representing in the semifinal of the CONCACAF Champions League. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of my recap of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.